In the raw food movement, you get a lot of different characters and a lot of different styles and a lot of different ways of looking at things. You get people that are sort of scientific, you get people that are athletic, you get people that are all about, you know, cleansing and detoxing, you get people that are all about the supplements and the herbs. But there's one sort of typical thing that we see over and over, right? And I kind of call it a fruitarian Jesus kind of character. And this is where probably mostly men, young men, usually a young, like in their 20s, maybe in the late teens guy, is sort of trying to do this Jesus thing. Um, the long hair, the beard, the not wearing much clothing and all that stuff, which is kind of typical fruitarian kind of thing. But starting to go down this road of like purity, fasting, long term fasting, cleansing, purity, spirituality, consciousness, and all this stuff. I'm getting obsessed with this thing, and I see it as like the fruitarian Jesus, archetype. And especially when you hear people say 40-day water fast, it's um that's a bad sign. That's a bad sign. And I'm not saying that the raw food thing isn't in some way spiritual, but it's not really a spiritual path. It might be part of it, but raw food in itself, um, the experiences of a raw food diet may lead some people to some awakenings in their consciousness in some way, but it's not really a spiritual path in terms of you're not going to get to enlightenment or whatever you want to call that by being more and more and more pure on a raw diet. Like you getting down to just juice or just fruit for long periods of time or just one type of fruit is not going to make any spiritual difference in your life. Your health, yes. Clarity of thinking, yes. Um, Maybe emotional stuff comes up and you deal with it, but you could also repress it. So, either way on that, it depends on your own particular character. But the fruitarian Jesus thing is a dangerous sort of character to play. I think you could say the same for women get into this like real spiritual thingy, and the issue here is that they're all up here, energetic wise. This is not where you want to be. Um, as far as I've heard or learned, in terms of developing a spiritual life, and in terms of integrating that with life on earth. And a lot of these people have probably done drugs as well. And that maybe Jesus is the wrong word for it, but like the kind of spiritual seeker, young guy giving up everything, probably had a bad breakup or something. Probably something happened, and all of a sudden he's almost renounced the world, and often these are the exact people that they don't follow a teacher properly, they don't read the books properly, they don't get proper education, they don't come to something like UK Fruit Fest. Because I've spoke to these people on the phone, these guys, they're going to go to Costa Rica, Ecuador, someplace up a mountain, and they're going to go and live in harmony with nature and eat nothing but fruit and walk barefoot on the earth. Um, and all of that stuff is good, but it is a problem for men because they're not embracing their masculine, their male, the manifestation of their male duty in life, their masculine duty, which is to be a provider, a protector, but to give something back, to create something, do something. The spiritual path in India, as far as what I've heard from some people, was for men in particular was to live a life, have a family, have a career, have a job, then fully devote yourself to the spiritual practice and stuff later on in life. Not that you wouldn't be doing it throughout life, but fully once your children are grown up and responsibilities have been taken care of, then and that is called a householder yogi, right? Um, within the West, obviously, within Christianity and all these other religions, being a father is and being a family man and working and all that is and being part of the community is all part of it. And then there might be a very small amount of people that are monks who live a monastic life. That's a very small amount of people of any culture, Indian or otherwise. And I think a lot of people, they're not doing that genuinely because of a spiritual calling, but because of trying to find a place where they fit. And maybe they just don't feel like they've found a place where they fit in this world. That's totally typical, especially for men of this generation who have mostly, or the generation coming, have mostly been told that they're no good and men are bad and toxic masculinity and women don't need them and all that stuff. And go online and all the stuff about women is like women trying to be like men and having sex with every guy they meet and all this stuff, and it kind of makes men go, what's the point anymore? Like let's just go and be a monk or something. So you get these characters who I empathize with, but it's taking it too far, and so it's dangerous. It becomes dangerous when people have this purity mindset that they can heal everything, that they're mystical, that they're going to do another 30 or 40-day water fast, and they're not grounded. It's this diet is a grounding diet. Raw food diet is the most grounding diet in the world, and every raw vegan will tell you as soon as we have something not ideal, whether it's cooked food, whether it's too much dehydrated food, whether it's too high fat, too much processed something or other. For me, if I was to eat too much fat, say, that's when you're ungrounded. That's when you don't feel yourself. That's when you feel weird. That's ungrounded. The raw food diet is not an ungrounded diet. It is a grounding diet. And if you're not eating enough calories or you're doing something wrong, eating too much fat or something, then you might feel ungrounded. There might also be a possibility that some people have had a history of taking pharmaceutical drugs or recreational drugs, and when they go raw, maybe some of that stuff starts detoxing into the system. I don't know exactly if that happens. Maybe it does, and maybe that accounts for people having mystical experiences when they go raw. Maybe that's the case, maybe not. For a lot of people, what's been surprising to me is their level of health when they go raw is not high enough to fully appreciate the benefits of going raw when they actually start doing it in the first place. They don't actually feel the benefits. If you have heart disease and type 2 diabetes and all these things, you have to work on that for a while before you're going to feel the true benefits of going raw. It may take you 2 or 3 years before you feel the true benefits. That is the reality of this path. It's not something necessarily that everyone, but younger people are more likely to feel the benefits very quickly. More likely to. But yeah, don't be a Fruitarian Jesus character. Be grounded. You must be grounded. If you want to develop spiritually or health-wise, you have to be grounded. You can't be all up here. There's a lot of people you meet and they're up here, and this is like psychedelic drugs all the time. Some of you maybe can't appreciate. Some of you know what I'm saying because you get that. But when you meet someone and they're all up here, their energy is all up here, you can sort of feel that. Some of you might understand what I mean, but they're not grounded. You can see it in their eyes. Often their eyes are like open for some reason. They're like kind of too open. They're just blasted. Ayahuasca, psychedelic drugs, mushrooms, all this stuff, too much. Talking about consciousness, talking about connectedness, yeah, but it's just about being connected. And they're like, sometimes it's like they're not really there. And they just want to go and escape and go away somewhere. And it would be much better for them to stop running away from their male destiny, duty, masculinity, or their female. Um, yeah, so uh, spiritual practice is also about being grounded into the world. There's a teacher called Stuart Perrin that I went to his course years ago. I used to follow him a lot, and he would say this. He would say you have to first develop your chi, your ki, which is below your navel. You have to develop that first. That has to be strong enough so that you can live with an open heart. When your heart opens, that brings in um, like the consciousness, the energy of the universe. That's the way he put it. So he was all about developing a strong center. If people take drugs and things like that, it opens them up without them being grounded in themselves, without them knowing themselves. These people don't know themselves. They're opening themselves up to spirituality. They're opening themselves up to energy. They have no idea what they're dealing with. They have no idea what they're dealing with. They don't even know who they are. They get more confused. They get more messed up. And you don't want to rush these experiences. There's no need to. These things are like lifetimes of work, right? Maybe. This is all theory, right? Spiritual theory. But people want to be special. They want to be special really quickly, but it's not about being special to other people. It's about being at peace within yourself and not being at peace on Instagram. Like, be at peace within yourself. So I urge you to live a human life. I urge you to see this as part of, is not as just for you to be healthier. It makes sense to live a raw food lifestyle, not for a spiritual reason, but for just basic reason of being healthier and feeling good and doing something fantastic for your body and feeling comfortable in your body. And the reason that more developed conscious people go towards raw food is more because they're aware and can feel the problems, the damage they're doing to their body and the problems with that. They can feel that and sense that, and they're more in touch with their body, but they're still not very in touch with their body because that's a really difficult thing. But the whole Fruitarian Jesus thing is like a total ego trip of often young men. I never quite fell into line with that. I never quite fell into line with that. But I was tempted to. I was tempted to. I was always been into the spiritual stuff, but I'm into the long game. I've never taken the psychedelic drugs or the mushrooms. So I'm not looking for right now something to happen, my third eye to open up and all that stuff. I don't need that. I meditate, do spiritual practice because it makes life easier to cope with. It makes life better. The same thing with raw foods. It makes life better. It makes you happier, more peaceful in yourself. The same thing. Probably the same with exercise, yoga, developing good relationships with people, developing good skills of communication, and all these things and developing a good career, these things. But I urge young men to not go down that path. Don't try and do things too quickly. Like, you have your whole life ahead of you to do spiritual practice and all that stuff. You don't have to try and go to a cave right now. Like, take on some responsibility in this life. Go and help people in a good way, and and I don't know, and get a job. If you don't have a job, like, find a good career that you like. Find a woman, get married, have kids, make that a goal. So I don't know. I love when young guys come into this whole movement, but I really want them to have the patience to come and learn this stuff properly instead of being so arrogant. Because they come along to my groups and things like that when I've done stuff in the past, and they're so arrogant. They think they know everything. This is not spiritual. It's nothing to do with spirituality. Total arrogance, lack of patience. How is that anything to do with being a spiritual person? It's nothing. Not even touched on the basic morality that is across all religions. So there's often just a massive amount of ego on the other side, and it's a hiding. It's using spirituality to hide yourself. I know that I'm more advanced spiritually, whatever, than a whole load of people that I've met or that claim to be spiritual. I know I am. I'm not. I don't care. Like, I've done the practice. I've done all the stuff they've done. I've went down the path they've went, and I know all that stuff. I get it. But life isn't about that. It's about having a good life. You know, it's about having, I don't know, try and enjoy yourself now and again and do some good work and feel good about yourself and contribute and put a good message out there and whatever. Try and be a good person to people. Try and treat people well. So I don't know. It's just a message. It's just something I'm putting out there. You know, just have a bit more of a sense of humor. This is the thing about the spiritually inclined people, is they often have like a sense of humor bypass. They're like, with their big wide eyes and all their energy up here, they're kind of like, they're lacking a sense of humor all of a sudden. All of a sudden everything's so spiritual and serious and I am connected with this and that, and you're like, let's just relax, have fun. Like, isn't it funny? The raw food lifestyle's weird and funny, you know. It's funny. It's a bit crazy. Have a laugh about it. Don't be so bothered about it. So that's a message I wanted to send out to you today. Feel free to subscribe. Feel free to leave your comments below. I get a sense sometimes with some comments that there's a few Fruitarian Jesus characters speaking to me. So I hear you, I see you, and your 30-day water fast and your 40-day water fast, well done, very good. But you probably realize it didn't give you what you wanted it to, because it doesn't. It's not spiritual practice, really. It's not making you more spiritual. So don't get deluded by those ideas. Do it for your health if you think it's appropriate for your health, purely for your health, and not as part of a weight loss program or not as part of a spirituality connection program, which I don't think it'll help you with either of those things in a big way. Okay, thank you for watching the Fruity Ronster channel. Like me, share me, connect with me, subscribe me. Go to fruitfest.co.uk if you want to join the newsletter. We've also got an online event this weekend, which won't make sense to people watching this video in 2 years' time, but fruitfest.co.uk/online, you can go and register for our weekend Fruitfest coming up this weekend. See you there.